Many people out there, coaching clients and just people in general, are reaching out to me going, Jeff, how do I get passive income? And then when I start asking them get a little more detail, why do you want passive income? Our guest today can definitely help with that because more and more dentists and doctors are burning out and just unhappy. And we have somebody that's not only an orthodontist, but also can walk us through something that she's built to help us. So, Dr. McCarthy, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. It's an honor to be here.
So let's just get right into it, shall we? Based on your experience, why are so many physicians and dentists burning out and just miserable at their workplace?
I know, isn't it so funny? I get that same question all the time. People can't believe that I have an entire practice around supporting doctors and dentists who are unhappy. And it's the truth. And, there's so many theories around it, but what I think it is that we're taught how to take care of everyone else. We're brilliant, confident, capable human beings. I mean, so many people in our world even refer to themselves as the hardest working person in the room. We know if there's a job to get done, we're going to get it done. Maybe not the smartest, but I will be the hardest working person in the room. And I think that combined with not taking the time to take care of ourselves is what burns us out. This constant go, 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 and looking for things outside of ourselves to bring us happiness. I call this is like the conditional happiness conundrum, if you will. I'll be happy when I have $1 million in the bank. I'll be happy when my assistant finally does what she's supposed to do. I'll be happy when my 17-year-old listens to me at home, or I'll be happy when I finally have that mortgage paid off. We keep kicking the can down the line without realizing the power we have in ourselves to create happiness now.
You say it's more kind of an attitude, kind of your, because everybody says you can, one thing that you can control every day is your attitude and your thoughts. Is that kind of what you're talking about a little bit, or something different?
It's a little bit of that, Jeff, and it's a little bit of expecting that happiness is outside of the realm of possibility right now. So it's this belief that happiness belongs somewhere else. So those examples of, especially with money, right? We feel so stressed out. A lot of these graduates who are graduating now with this enormous debt
Right.
to their education, feeling like, okay, I'm not going to be able to feel safe and happy until I get that paid off, or until I feel like I have a plan around it. And that placing your happiness on the condition of something else is what puts us in a conundrum, because it means that you're out of control. It means that you don't have control over your own happiness.
Yeah.
And the really interesting thing is that happiness is generated from within, and it can be generated at any point in time, even when things outside of you seem desperate or unstable. In fact, that's the one time that's most important to tuck back into those skills so that we can make the right decisions about real estate or our business management or patient care. It's so important. It's actually, I think, one of the most important responsibilities as leaders and healthcare providers to be able to learn how to navigate our own nervous system regulation. So I'm talking about sympathetic nervous system storm, fight or flight. And so many of us live in a perpetual state of chronic stress that we don't even realize we're in it.
That's true. Yeah, because we're seeing patients, and if you're a practice owner like you and I, we're also I don't know about you, but I'm always like a few steps ahead. We're going to get this person in and that's and that. So you're trying to control that. You're trying to control the employees. If you're not a business owner and you're an employee yourself, well, then you have to work with other employees, and and I really haven't started learning. I didn't start learning about meditation and manifestation and all that kind of stuff till about 6 or 8 months ago. And if I could go back, one of the biggest things that I would have personally done, if I could go back knowing what I know now, is to start practicing that every day. And it's just, you can even do it when you're driving or, sitting on a plane or whatever. And it's just amazing. But tell us a little bit about that from your experience coaching people and maybe practicing that sort of thing throughout the day.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I think I'll give you an example. So I live in Maine. I had beautiful forest all around me in the middle of nowhere. And we went away for a little while. And I asked my brother to bring the trash barrels in for us because we were out of the state.
Hmm.
And we have about a half-mile driveway. And he only showed up at night. And of course, he's not familiar with the property. He doesn't live there every single day. So he's bringing at, 9 o'clock at night, he's bringing the trash barrels up from the street, and he hears a noise in the woods next to him. And out of the corner of his eye, he sees a fisher cat. Now, I don't know if you know about fisher cats, but fisher cats, they're enormous weasels that can take down a cow. They're vicious. They're big, but they are scary, and they are relentless. So in that moment, his body was in fight or flight. And what did he do? And I'm talking, my brother, I wish I could show you a picture of him. He is a personal trainer. He is strong. He is so, but in that moment, he fled. His brain decided, I'm not going to fight this fisher cat. He trashed the trash barrels, jumped in the car, and hightailed it out of there and left it for the next day. And so I ask you, in that moment, is that the best time to make a decision about a real estate investment? Well, it's a ridiculous question because the answer is absolutely no. In that moment, his body did exactly what it was supposed to do, which is cut off critical executive function and go straight to survival mode, which is get me out of here, or what's the first tree I can climb, or how am I going to fight this animal, right? And so when we're living in that state of perpetual stress, we become numb to it. All those little moments during the day, the suction breaks down in your office and immediately we go into panic simply because our thoughts are so powerful that they can put us into a place of fight or flight in an instant. It's what sets us apart from all the other animals. It's not our opposable thumbs. It's this 40% of our brain that is prefrontal cortex that just a single thought can bring sweats, can put you in atrial fibrillation, can put you in fight or flight.
Hmm.
And when we're in a profession and we're not paying attention to those signals because we've just been going without pausing for a moment, thinking that our worth is dependent on our achievement or on how many patients we can see or on how many dollars we can pay back to our debts, we develop this consistent, continual stress. And we can't rely on our executive function. So what are executive functions? Things like task initiation, objective time evaluation, creativity, perspective, even reaching places of compassion for another human being, feeling somebody else's emotional perspective. We lose the ability to do that, and it's just biology. And then we start making decisions or actions from a place of survival. That's when we snap at our significant other when we come home from work, or when we snap at our assistant for not changing the toilet paper roll. And I'm using these examples because
Hmm.
that was my lived experience. That's who I became. I became someone who was reactive constantly because I was living in a perpetual state of fight or flight. And that's when I started looking outside of myself. What will make me feel better? Oh, it must be the side gig. Oh, it must be, working out. It must be something that I need to attain to change who I am. And when you just mentioned things like meditation, nervous system regulation techniques, the reason why they're so critical is because they actively bring our autonomic nervous system from fight or flight to parasympathetic calm. And just that action is so important in terms of being able to access those critical components of leadership or ingenuitive decision making, creative problem solving. And her ability to do that is based on her nervous system regulation savvy. And that is such a key component. And we do that through things like meditation. And all meditation does is it allows us to bring our bodies back down to calm.
Hmm.
And the more we do it, the more we flex that vagal tone muscle.
I remember working when I was right out of practice. I worked with an oral surgeon a little bit, and yeah, and that was really my first exposure to treating patients with like deep IV sedation. And as you can imagine, things can go wrong pretty quickly. And one time they were having an airway issue. The person is coughing and losing sats and all this. Got through the case, and he kind of pulled me aside afterwards, and he said, "No matter what happens, when you're working on somebody and things start to go south, remain calm,
Hmm.
because if you as the captain of the ship, if you start to freak out or whatever, because everybody is looking to you, to do that." And what you're talking about, with meditation and breathing, just sit there, just take some deep breaths, maybe quit working and just focus on what you need to do, remain calm. And because a lot of times that's what keeps people in the fight or flight, during the day while they're
Yeah.
working, because they're so stressed out at this thing. Just remain. I mean, if you have to, when I first got out, I don't know about you, but even though I knew how to do the procedures, if I would look and say, "Hey, there's a big implant case or whatever," I'd look at the X-ray and I would walk through, visualize everything. I'm going to need this first and this and that, and then after you do it for 20 years, it becomes a little bit easier. But if that could help people through that a little bit. So do you teach any type of visualization or any type of those techniques with your coaching clients?
Absolutely. It's a
Hmm.
very, very big part of what I teach, especially how to do it within a practice setting
Hmm.
and even in private life. Because let's face it, some of us, our practice is our safe haven. It's when we get home that things fall apart. And everybody's different. Everybody's nervous system responds differently to different stressors. So, for example, for me, I know that what brings stress on for me is shopping at Target. I there's nothing I like least. Le, let, there's nothing that I abhor more than shopping at Target. So that for me is a big stressor. Where work for me eventually became a safe haven.
Hmm.
And so I would pour myself into my work, but once again, that's when we lose that balance. When we lose the ability to show up in all parts of our lives with that same level of confidence and composure and calm. So some people really find fear and anxiety in new patient exams, and others find that fear and anxiety in having a conversation with their loved one about, something difficult in their marriage.
Hmm.
And all of those are very important parts of living a holistically successful life.
Now, you mentioned a little bit when you first started your practice as an
Mm.
orthodontist, you would do different things thinking it was going to make you happy, but it wasn't. So maybe take us back to when you first started practicing, some of the things that you were doing, some of the things that you thought were going to make you happy, but they didn't, and then what you did to pivot to change that.
Yeah, one of the big things I thought would bring me happiness was this idea of success. And success to me was an algorithm that other people had created for me. And, looking to other colleagues thinking, oh, well, she has a house and a second house and she's so happy and she has two kids. And so I thought, well, when I achieved that status with two homes and a couple kids, that I would be happy. And that's that hedonic treadmill.
Hmm.
So what the hedonic treadmill is you keep kicking that goalpost down the line. You keep saying, I'll be happy when. And what I wasn't paying attention to was creating that happiness and finding that gratitude and peace and satisfaction in the moments where I was at the time. I wasn't learning how to cultivate that happiness for myself and essentially giving my power away. And when we do that, we really rely on, our patients to fuel us with happiness, with validation and gratitude and thank you, docs. And if that's all you hinge your happiness on, you'll be sour for a long time because we know that our patients are in their own state of fight or flight many
Hmm.
times. They have their own troubles. So it has nothing to do with you, but to constantly be waiting for that validation from your staff or your patients is literally putting your power and your happiness in their hands. I tried. What I noticed was it was very hard for me to calm down. I would be going all day long. In fact, the idea of nervous system regulation I had never even considered. And what I ended up doing was using alcohol. And alcohol worked really well.
Mm.
Alcohol was a great way to calm my nervous system at the end of the day because I was so ramped up. There were so many things going on. I wasn't taking lunch breaks. I wasn't taking any breaks. So anytime we live in this perpetual state of running, we're going to be in a state of fight or flight. And many of us lean to chemical release to be able to step out of it. Well, of course, that became its own problem. And so I struggled with alcohol for a long time. And it wasn't even so much the alcoholism, it was that I didn't know how to calm my nervous system down. I didn't know how to just sit and be still. I don't know if any of your listeners can relate to this, but that idea of when you go on vacation, it takes you 3 days just to calm down enough to actually be present in the moment. That's a beautiful indicator that your system is so wired and that you're not giving yourself enough consistent opportunity to relax. So one of the
We
yeah, go ahead.
well, we just got speaking of vacation, we just got back for we were celebrating my 50th birthday in Cabo, and my wife told me we've been married for 23 years. She said, "This is the first time I've ever just seen you sit here and relax by the pool and just do nothing." And literally it has because of
Yeah.
learning what I need to do with the meditation, with just relaxing and how that helps. So I can attest, the first, 22 years of my practice, I was just like you just said, running, going, and then having a separate real estate business that I'm just as busy or even busier
Yeah.
than the practice. But now, realizing, what you're talking about, you have to take some time for yourself. You have to relax, recharge. So that's and I, luckily you caught it a little bit earlier on in your practice. I'm kind of catching it more on the tail end, but at least we're doing it, and then now you're sharing it to other people, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you brought that up because what you're evidencing is someone who feels like there might be other things that can bring me happiness. So you took on this beautiful opportunity in real estate, and that's now taken up so much more time in your life in terms of growing this beautiful service to other doctors and dentists. But that comes with its own set of stressors,
Hmm.
of course. And even if we said, I'll be happy when I finally take a vacation, just being on the vacation doesn't mean you're necessarily relaxing, but really cultivating that skill in the moment, even before you get to the vacation, even before you have the real estate, passive income, knowing how to provide that safety for yourself. And I say safety because I think one of the paradigms that we've created for ourselves in dentistry is this myth that in order to be successful, you have to be busy. And I know that you speak to some of this in some of your work is actually you can be really successful and sitting on the beach in in some beautiful place. So when many of my clients will say to me, oh my gosh, Tarryn, give me a new mindset because this afternoon, 3 of my patients canceled back to back and I'm losing my mind. And that terror that we get when there are holes in our schedule or when we're not quote unquote busy enough, it actually is a fear that we have in our bodies of calm. So safety itself doesn't feel safe. That opportunity to just sit back and actually read a book or have a conversation with your team member and not be constantly going is terrifying for many people. So there's actually, on top of the nervous system regulation, there's a lot of work that we do around our beliefs and those ingrained beliefs that have become limitations of us to even achieve happiness and calm.
And I'm laughing when you said that because that's how I used to be. Oh, we
Yeah.
have somebody canceled or somebody rescheduled, and now when I hear that, I'm like, oh, good, because I have to work on this YouTube video. Or this is I'm like, perfect. It's
Yeah.
funny how my mindset has
Has
changed.
shifted.
But
Yeah.
but looking back, I was, it seems like maybe you and I are about the same age. So I've been practicing for about 20 years, and
Yep.
back then. Dave Ramsey was about the only big financial, guru. I mean, there's tons of them now. And, I got out, I had 300,000 in student loan debt. I kind of was supposed to be going with this group practice. I got screwed over at the last minute. So I had to start my own practice. As you know, we don't learn anything about that in residency.
Nope.
So I was in survival mode for the first 10 years. And I just thought, hey, if I could go through Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps, clear up that debt, pay off that first house, get $1 million, whatever it was. And now looking back on it, every time I hit one of those goals, it was great for a day or two.
That's it.
And that's it. And then, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And so now, all these things are coming together. And I don't remember who I read it last year. You probably know the name of the book. I don't remember, but the guy, he was on Oprah and he writes books about happiness and fulfillment. And he's about our age, in our 50s, and he's in his 50s. But and I read his book, and the biggest thing, it was like my aha moment, because it said, you go through life and you're just focused on money because you're starting a family and you want to get out of debt and this and that. But it said studies show the happiest people in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, they're so happy because now they're taking everything that they're learning, like you're doing, like I'm doing, like other people, and they're teaching it,
Yeah.
and they get so much more fulfillment. And that made me think, wow, I was so happy now in this stage of my life, but also now I know why so many older people go back and teach in dental school, because that's bringing them fulfillment, that
Yeah.
what and so I think it's really cool about that. So what are your thoughts about that? Are you kind of get the same thing?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think, once again, it's so individual in terms of our personal value systems. And there's this longevity study, happiness longevity study out of Harvard that's been happening for 85 years. It's the longest running happiness study, and it's ongoing. But what they found, the most common denominator, ironically, is deep connected relationships. And so that also plays into what that gentleman was referring to on the Oprah show, and his name eludes me now too. But in that, we're creating relationships with the people we serve. And we know that as dentists too, right? Those moments when you're really connecting with the patient and you're having a great conversation, that's the moment you talk to your wife about that night.
Yeah.
That's the moment you think about. Or that patient who comes back to you 10 years later. I know we had my husband is an oral surgeon, and 15 years later, one of his patients invited him to her wedding because he made such a big impact on her
Wow.
and how she felt about herself. That's the patient. That's the person we talk about at night. Those are the moments that really fuel your happiness and your fulfillment. So it's the relationships. But if we're not slowing down long enough to be present for those conversations or those relationships, we're missing them. If we're constantly chasing a number or an achievement or a level of success outside of ourselves, we're not paying attention to those crucial conversations and moments with people who we really care about. And we're missing that magic. And I think in service to others, when we can be present, once we're able to calm our nervous systems down and maybe not put so much stress on what other people expect of us. There's this other incredible author. Her name is Bronnie Ware, and she is a palliative care nurse dealing with people at the end of their lives. And she wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the number one regret of the dying that she found in commonality over hundreds and hundreds of patients every year was, I wish I'd lived a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me.
Hmm.
And I think that's a huge component of our stress level in dentistry, is constantly doing what others expect of us and not making decisions to be true to our own value system. And once again, what does that require? It requires getting still and asking yourself, what do I really care about? What really matters to me? And that requires us to be comfortable with pausing, with that stillness, with taking that vacation, with finding that peace every single day and checking in with ourselves. We don't know what's true to me if I've been listening to what my professors told me, what my coaches tell me, what my consultants tell me to do, what the reps tell me to do, if I'm just following everybody else's algorithm of success, I'm losing out on that critical relationship with myself.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about I know you have a lot of things going on, but one of them is
Yeah.
the coaching program. So tell us a little bit about who it's for and what you could do to help them with their issues.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking, Jeff. Radical Happiness for Practitioners is my coaching program, and I run one exclusively for women in
Mhm.
dentistry and medicine, and I one exclusively for men. My all men's group is amazing. They're in the middle of this cohort right now, and they're having some massive shifts. And what those shifts look like is deeper relationship with yourself. So we work on emotional intelligence, which is something that we weren't necessarily taught growing up, but really understanding our own emotions and primarily nervous system regulation, how to find that calm and composure in the middle of the day when your compressor breaks and your office manager gave her 2 week notice and your 17-year-old is threatening never to go to college. Trust me, that happened to me as well. How to find that presence and how to create a relationship with yourself. And what we see as a result is our graduates from this program not only do enormously better financially, but their relationships are better. We see that they have staff members that now become long-term staff members. They're not just turning over
Mhm.
constantly. We see that they have more satisfaction in their work, and they actually decrease the number of days that they work in practice, and they become more financially sustainable. So making choices and decisions that are more in alignment with their holistic definition of success, and then giving them the confidence to say yes to being true to themselves. And I always offer this money back guarantee if you take the entire course and you're not satisfied. And not one person has taken me up on that, because everybody's life transforms when they give themselves the opportunity to just look inward and learn how to take care of themselves.
It's just two questions that popped to my mind. Number one, how long is the program last? And number two, is it in person? Is it remote? Is it a hybrid of both?
Yeah, it's actually a remote. So we meet weekly. So we
Hmm.
have group coaching sessions, and then there's a library of phenomenal lessons that I also serve on a podcast platform, so you can listen to them on the way to work. And the program is about 10 weeks long,
Okay.
and yeah, it's awesome.
And you're still practicing full time, part time?
No, actually, this my coaching program became so there's so much demand for it. I actually last summer sold my practice. And this is
Congratulations.
what I do. Thank you so much. I'll tell you, I miss so much of my patient interaction, but this has become so rewarding that just
Hmm.
to this day, it astonishes me how many men and women who are literally putting smiles on children's faces on a daily basis are feeling so overwhelmed and stressed out themselves. It's a enormous epidemic in our incredible profession. And every single day, I get approached by men and women who are literally doing amazing things. But I think often we're too afraid to ask for help. So we suffer in silence. We need to keep up a good image so that we can invite patients to our office, which makes a lot of sense. And I'm so honored to be that safe haven for so many people so that they can find respite and support and actually live the life of their dreams that they deserve.
I really appreciate your insights today. Your information very helpful for those that want to learn more about you, your podcast, your coaching program, any other things. Where can they go?
Thanks, Jeff. You can check out my podcast at The Business of Happiness. That's the name of the podcast. Anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, and on YouTube as well. And the website is www.thebizofhappiness.com.
And we'll put those links below in this video. So
Thank you.
really appreciate it, and you're doing some great work out there. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you to you too, Jeff, because supporting our colleagues with softening that stress level about their debt and about the financial overwhelm is such a big guide. And I'm just so grateful that there are people like you out there. Thank you for all that you do.
Absolutely.